By the end of this effect, the audience will be wondering if the cards are in on the trick. Super easy to perform with no difficult moves. It's perfect for magicians of all skill levels. Don't forget to subscribe and keep on building those skills that make magic and so much more possible. Okay, let's jump into it. Grab a deck and let's go. Okay, so as ever, let's just kickstart by taking a look at the effect itself. And you can start just by giving the cards a shuffle and a mix. And with that done, you're now going to ask the spectator just to make some cuts of their own to the deck. So firstly, ask them just to cut a small portion of cards and just to turn these over and place them back on top. Then ask them to cut a larger portion of cards, again, wherever they like, and then to turn these over and place them on top of the deck. You can now just take the cards, you can fan through them until you get to the first face down card here where the spectator cut, and you can give them this card as their selected card. Ask the spectator to take this card and just to remember it. So in this instance, we can see it's the Jack of Hearts. Once they've remembered that, ask them to take their card and just place it back into the deck. You can emphasize at this point the spectator's card really is lost. You can even display the cards to show them that they really are all mixed. However, you're now going to attempt to identify the spectator's card, and you can explain that in trying to find a selected card, some of the other cards in the deck can often give useful clues, and you're going to prove that now with a demonstration. So the first thing you need are just some helper cards. So just take a look through the deck to find a few cards that could help you. So I think maybe just about here. So take a few cards from the deck and just place them onto the table, and you can place the rest of the deck to the side. You can take the pack here and you can explain that by giving these cards a mix, they'll gradually start to reveal clues about the spectator's card. And you're going to mix them like follows by dealing one card to the table and one card underneath, to the table and underneath, until we're left with just one single card. So dealing and mixing as we go until we have one single card just here. Explain to the spectator that this first card will reveal the colour of the spectator's card. So in this instance, we have the Ace of Diamonds. So therefore we know the spectator's card is a red card. With further mixing, the helper cards will reveal even more clues. So once again, we can just give the pack a mix to the table and underneath until again, we're left with just one single card just here. Explain that the second card represents the suit of the spectator's card. So we know it's a red card, so therefore it's either hearts or diamonds. Turn this card over here. In this case, it's the 10 of hearts. So we know the suit of the spectator's card is hearts. For even more information, we can give the helper cards a third mix. So once again, deal into the table and underneath the pack until we're left with just one single card, just here. And you can explain that this third card will tell us whether the spectator's card is a picture card or a spot card. So in this instance, this card is the King of Diamonds. Therefore, we know the spectator's card is a picture card. So having established the spectator's card is red, its suit is hearts, and it's a picture card, you can perform just one more mix with the cards until you have one final card on the end, just here. At this point, you can just remind the spectator that they had a totally free choice of card. They could have cut the deck wherever they liked, and their selected card was then lost back into the deck. For the very first time now, you can ask the spectator to name their card. Of course, in this instance, it was the Jack of Hearts. And now you can explain how the fourth and final card here often represents the exact identity of the selected card. In this instance, the Jack of Hearts. Now, that's pretty incredible, and you can just gather these cards up, and you can explain that we're not yet done with the helper cards. Because in a final twist, if you just give these cards a spin in the hand like so, and then deal them to the table, something remarkable happens. Almost as if to confirm the identity of the selected card, these cards somehow transform into the remaining matching cards. In this instance, all three of the remaining jacks. A surprise kicker ending to an effect that's super easy to perform, so stick around because now I will show you exactly how it works. Okay, so let's take a look at the secret to this effect. Now you're just going to start with a set of 7 prepared cards arranged as follows: Jack of Hearts, Jack of Spades, Jack of Diamonds, King of Diamonds, 10 of Hearts, Ace of Diamonds, and the Jack of Clubs. Take this pack and with the Jack of Hearts on top, place these cards on top of the deck. Now if you like, you can start with some full shuffles or cuts just to make it look as though the cards are mixed. Now in the demonstration I use a simple overhand shuffle, and here's how that quickly works. Start by shuffling off a small top portion of cards which covers the prepared cards. Keeping this pack separate from the rest of the deck, just continue to shuffle cards off from the rest of the deck until you're left with just the remaining small packet, and then bring this over back on top of the deck. With the prepared cards still in place on top of the deck, you now need to force the top card as the spectator's selected card. Now you can use any force that you like for this. In the demonstration I used a simple self-working double turnover force, and here's how that works. Ask the spectator to cut a small packet of cards from the deck and to turn these over and to place them on top. Then ask them to cut a larger portion of cards from the deck and to turn these over and to place them back on top. And now you can take the deck and you can spread through the cards until you get to the first face down card. Now this will be the top card of the deck, which you can now hand to the spectator as their selected card. You can now just cut the deck and have the spectator return their selected card on top of the other prepared cards, and then lose these into the middle of the deck by completing the cut. In the act of finding some helper cards, you're now going to take a look through the cards. Now here, you're just going to look through the cards until you get to the Jack of Hearts just here, and you're simply just going to cut this casually to the top of the deck. You're now just going to silently count off the top 7 cards as your helper cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, placing these onto the table and the rest of the deck to the side. You now have your 7 prepared cards back on the table just here. Taking this pack, you're now going to mix them as follows, dealing 1 card to the table and 1 card underneath, 1 to the table and 1 underneath, and you're going to repeat this until you're left with just 1 single card. And then you'll take this card and place it to the side. Explaining that this card represents the colour of the spectator's card, you can reveal this to be a red card. Repeat the mixing for a second time to the table and underneath again until you're left with just 1 card, and place this card to the side. Explaining that this card represents the suit of the spectator's card, you can reveal it to be hearts. Repeat the mixing for a third time, again until you're left with just 1 single card. Explaining that this card indicates the spectator has selected a picture card. Perform the mixing 1 final time, and you can explain that the 4th card here represents the exact identity of the spectator's card. In this instance, the Jack of Hearts. Gathering these cards up just here, you can then deal the final 3 cards to the table. And all that's left to do now is to reveal in any way that you like that these cards here just happen to be all 3 of the remaining jacks. And that's a wrap. Remember, every trick you practice builds skills that reach far beyond the cards. So stay curious, keep learning, and see where your magic takes you. Thanks for joining me today. Until next time, take care.